All right, so today's video is unfortunately not going to be a little bit different. Today we're going to be taking a look here at a clip of JD Vance going on Fox News, doing an interview with Maria Bartiromo, and just saying so many different lies about undocumented immigrants. Without further ado, here is the clip. We are going to watch the entire clip in full and then talk about it. It's a very short clip. It's less than a minute. Here it is.
And the other thing that we talked about, and I didn't even realize this, Maria, until a couple of years ago, that for apportioning representatives, you actually count illegal aliens. So even though illegal aliens theoretically are not supposed to vote, we know sometimes they do, you still count illegal aliens for congressional apportionment. So California has way more House seats than it should because they have such a high population of illegal aliens. So they get rewarded for welcoming illegal aliens into their state, giving them federal benefits, actually asking the taxpayers of states like Ohio to subsidize them. And then those same taxpayers in Ohio and Indiana and elsewhere, they have fewer congressional representatives because of what California has allowed to happen. That's ridiculously unfair, and the only real way to fight back against it is for us to redistrict in some ways as aggressively as these hard blue states have done. And the other thing that
JD Vance made a lot of claims there. Again, all of them false. So the first thing that he said is that he didn't actually know this until a couple years ago, but the census, the U.S. Census, where they count how many people are in the country, includes undocumented immigrants. And a couple of days ago, Trump called for a new U.S. Census that excludes undocumented immigrants. But as this Guardian article states right here, census has historically counted all residents, regardless of citizenship status, as required by the 14th Amendment, which is right here. We're not going to read this entire thing, obviously. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the U.S. and the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within a jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Representatives shall be apportioned among the several states, according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed, but when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for president or vice president of the United States, representative in the Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or the members of legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state being 21 years of age and citizens of the United States or in any way abridged, except for participation in rebellion or other crime. The basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. Obviously, this was written before women were allowed to vote, but it says right there that we count everybody in the census, and it also states right there that if you are not a citizen, you are not legally allowed to vote. But again, we know this. We've talked about this many times. Undocumented immigrants pay taxes. If you are an undocumented immigrant in this country and you are working, you are legally required to pay taxes. If you do not pay taxes, the IRS will come after you. You will have a entire shit show to deal with. Undocumented immigrants paid $96.7 billion in federal, state, and local taxes in 2022. Undocumented immigrants paid federal, state, and local taxes of $8,889 per person in 2022. In other words, for every 1 million undocumented immigrants who reside in the country, public services receive $8.9 billion in additional tax revenue. It does not matter how you cut it. It doesn't matter what you think. The fact of the matter is that if you are an undocumented immigrant in this country and you have a job, you are paying taxes. You get income, you have to pay taxes on that income. That is just the fact, and it really pisses me off when I see people every day. I know people that believe that undocumented immigrants do not have to pay taxes on income. They have to pay taxes just like everyone else, okay? The thing about that, though, that also pisses me off and is completely backwards is they pay taxes, but they are not eligible for any of the federal programs, most all of the federal programs that a U.S. citizen would be eligible for. A U.S. citizen that pays taxes, that works, whatever, they are not eligible for those programs because they are not citizens. And I don't have anything about this pulled up at the moment right now, but we also know that the path to citizenship in this country is insanely difficult, right? It is just Absolutely disgusting. But we have something else I want to go over here. 6 facts about false non-citizen voting claims and the election. Because you heard JD Vance in that clip. He said, "We know undocumented immigrants, or he said illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants are not allowed to vote, but we know sometimes they do, and that's just not true. There are severe penalties for non-citizens who illegally try to vote." This is an NPR article from last year where they go over many of the go-to GOP talking points when it comes to the lie that they love to reciprocate every single day about undocumented immigrants voting in elections. It does not happen. It just doesn't fucking happen. It's illegal for people who are not U.S. citizens to vote in federal or state elections. And the federal voter registration form asks registrants to affirm, under penalty of perjury, that they are eligible citizens. The form warns those who make false statements could be fined, imprisoned, or deported. Non-citizens who register to vote can also lose the ability to ever become U.S. citizens. Voting right advocates, say that these penalties have worked as effective deterrents. Every time I have gone to vote, every single time I've gone to vote in my local and the presidential elections, every single time I have went to vote, they ask me for my ID. I have to hand the people sitting at the little shitty folding tables, the shitty ass folding tables that they give the election workers, I have to hand them my ID. I have my voter card, I have my ID, and I also bring my social security card. The rare cases that do happen leave a paper trail. Again, this does not happen. The GOP wants you to think that every undocumented immigrant votes, that the Democrats are just letting people in across any border to let people vote so the Democrats win. And that's not fucking true. Six green card holders were recently indicted in Ohio for allegedly voting in past elections. A University of Michigan student from China who is not a U.S. citizen is accused of voting last month and has been criminally charged. Again, if you are an undocumented immigrant and you vote, they will catch you. That's why it doesn't happen. And when it does happen, you hear about it because it's so fucking rare. It's not happening. It is not happening to to proportion that JD Vance wants you to think. Donald Trump, anyone in the GOP, anyone who believes this lie, it's just not happening. And all you need to do is read up on this stuff. Available data shows non-citizen voting is incredibly rare. I just went over that. Flawed studies have fueled false claims, and this they go over in a 2014 ODU study that literally just uses an online survey where a small number of respondents had indicated they were non-citizens and that they had voted. This paper, apparently this is very common when it comes to people using this false claim of undocumented immigrants voting. This paper specifically fuels a bunch of these lies. It's an online survey. I get online surveys all of the time, like when I go on YouTube, when I go onto a website, when I'm in like an app on my phone and something pops up, and I lie on them. I lie on them all the fucking time using an online survey as the sole justification or the sole reason to make a claim like, yeah, undocumented immigrants actually vote all the time is so insane to me. It's so disgusting. It's so disingenuous. A small number of localities allow non-citizens to vote in municipal races only. Again, just like JD Vance said, he's sitting there saying, we know that sometimes undocumented immigrants, vote for the president, whatever. He didn't say that, but that's just not happening. Non-citizens are still barred from voting in federal and state elections. It's not happening. It's just not happening. Most people who arrived at the border in recent years have no path to citizenship. And the last thing they go over is misleading claims about non-citizens voting can undermine confidence in the 2024 election. Again, we don't need to go over that. But the last thing that I want to go over here, well, there's a couple of things actually, but this has been a lie that the Republicans have been using for a long time now. This is an LA Times article that was written back in October of 2017. Okay, talking about Republicans trying to kill the state and local tax deduction in California. The main Republican argument for killing the state and local tax deduction is that the break forces residents of low tax states to subsidize those in California and other high tax states. But when it comes to federal taxes, the data shows it's the other way around, and it could get far worse for Californians if the deduction is eliminated. California is among 13 states that ship more tax money to Washington than they get back in federal spending. Okay? So, what J.D. Vance said about voters in Ohio subsidizing what's going on in California is a complete fucking lie. It's literally the exact opposite. And then the last thing I want to go over here is the actual number of undocumented immigrants in California. I don't know why I just scrolled away from it, but the undocumented immigrant number in California is 1.8 million according to numbers from 2022. And JD Vance is saying, well, you know, the reason that California has so many representatives is because of all the undocumented immigrants, and that just doesn't make any sense. There's no merit to that claim. There is zero merit to that claim. Literally zero. Again, you can look all this stuff up. You can look all of this shit up. I've talked about this so many times before on the channel. It gets tiring. It pisses me off. I get heated about this. There are so many people that are misinformed on this issue, that do not know the facts when it comes to this issue, that do not know that undocumented immigrants pay taxes. I will say this until the day I die. I will yell this. I will scream in people's faces about this. Undocumented immigrants have to pay taxes. And saying that they should be allowed to vote. They should be allowed to vote, and they should be eligible for all of the federal programs that U.S. citizens are eligible for. They should be allowed to vote. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. JD Vance is a fucking clown. I mean, he should really just, honestly, I mean, if you put the, he really just, you need to put the clown makeup on him at this point, right? Okay, yeah. Getting off track here. That being said, that is going to be it for this video. Guys, please, 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 let me know down in the comments what you thought of this video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of JD Vance, again, just being a complete clown, completely lying on Fox News, just being completely misinformed. Misinforming the public is more important, you know, because we know he knows that this shit is lies. Let me know what you thought of my coverage. Let me know what you thought of what I went over in this video. And guys, please, 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 hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, press that little bell, turn on all notifications so you guys never miss an upload.